spend 20-30 minutes trying to fish it out from underneath.
I was about to say nice Streamlabs share. Not
Thank you.
is it Stream? No,
Yeah.
Secret
No, this
Labs.
is Secret Lab. Yeah,
Yeah, Secret Lab. Got the AK.
$400 really well spent.
I was say I got the AK Racer one. It's really nice. I was gonna get the stream the Secret Labs one, but I opted for this one because there's gonna be an extra big one, and I want to make sure if I ever just blew up one day, I didn't regret my purchase. Like, my metabolism's pretty good, but like it's still weird. Okay, so we
How
are.
old are you?
I'm 25.
Oh, okay. So I only got you by a couple of years.
Yeah, too old to be playing this game.
You're telling me.
Been playing this game for like 6 years. I'm still garbage. Not even top
Oh,
50. What's wrong with me?
you'd be top 50. You just have to go to enough stuff. I'd be top 50.
I wish. If COVID never happened, I feel like
Oh,
I would have definitely made my mark.
if COVID never happened is like the secret word for this year.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Pat? What the hell are you doing? Get out of everything.
Hold on. I'm just gonna. So I have like a loose script for all of these like shows. Like, I'm trying to find it, but it's stuff's just being real stupid today. Um. There it is. Okay. Hi guys. Welcome to another episode of Net Talks. Today we have Tombo on stream. Say hello, dude.
Hey, what's up, stream?
Um, we'll be getting into Yoshi and as well as like the ins and outs of the character, some do's and don'ts, and I think we're gonna spend a good amount of this stream talking about mentality because you have that side project going on with
Well,
huh?
it's more than mentality. It's like mentality plus just breaking down the elements of decision making in the game.
Yeah,
So
decision making. It's funny because as I was like, shelling out tweets and stuff, I was like, the other day Tombo described it as something else. I just can't remember, and I'm too lazy to text him right now. So
no, don't worry about it. I saw every tweet. We're
yeah.
good. Especially the one where I just ran right into your PK flash and died.
Oh my god. I was like, oh god, please give this man a recovery. He deserves it.
Nah, it's okay.
There's
It's a
one
tough, it's a
during
tough
that
matchup.
during that same I'm gonna send you the link right now. Hey, how's it going, Dill?
A Cody Rhodey.
Yeah, I sent you the code. There's another there's another moment during our set on Thursday, and I just found it absolutely hilarious. It was it was on FOD. You're on the right side of FOD, and you're trying to recover. And I think you like burned a jump to probably hit me or something because you're already at ledge. And then I just
Yeah,
down
I know, but
aired you, and you just floated down like they like that because your character doesn't have a recovery. If you take its second jump, it's kind of over for the man. I mean, he can like egg and like he can do like the egg roll thing, and he can also air dodge. But
I would have had to roll onto stage at that point, but I thought that maybe I could refresh or something, but you just caught me too soon.
yeah, that was very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
I'd say ledge is probably my weakest aspect of my whole game,
Okay,
but
we are
everything else I'm pretty good.
Yeah,
Let's turn this volume down.
you have one of the more solid punish games of a lot of players that a lot of Yoshis rather that I've played. Like your punish game is really solid. Granted, I haven't played Wampi, which is like kind of like the only notable one at this point that I haven't played. I can't think of anyone from like the West Coast. I played I Heart Love Tap. Not in like some serious capacity. Like thanks to NetPlay. Like shouts out to the Anthers Ladder, honestly, because I got to meet some pretty cool players through it. I got to get a lot of my experience because of NetPlay. With all the bad that we could say about NetPlay, and we can go on about it, but
I mean, I think it's underappreciated. It's and overhated because
I agree.
people play with reaction mostly. They don't really think about what they're doing. They're playing just on instinct, and you can't do that on NetPlay. And if they don't want to develop foresight or develop like prediction, then they're not gonna want to play.
And like I understand like not wanting to deal with lag. Trust me, I don't over 8 buffer and I'm kind of cringing, but I also think there's something to be said about I've done reaction stuff on netplay. I don't think it's impossible. Like I've done react. It depends on like how good the connection is, how close they are. Because there's that 4 buffer. It feels pretty nice to me.
Well, you learn to think ahead just enough that the reaction is already kind of a setup to what you think they're going to do.
Right.
So
right.
it may feel like it's reaction, but at least a small part of it is prediction.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we're gonna have like one quick game real quick, and then I'm gonna start asking you, So well, actually, let's get one thing out the way. Introduce yourself, man. What's your name? What's your tag?
So I'm 404 Tombo. I been playing since 20. How long has it been? It's been like 2013 when I started playing. I started playing mostly in 64. I like 64 a lot, but I like well, I was like not really competitive, and then I met some people in college that were like in competitive scene, and like I was doing really well in 64 versus them, and then like we started to move to melee, and we moved to brawl for a little while, and then PM came out. So it's been a fun ride so far. My first major tournament was CEO 2014.
Oh, nice. I actually wished I could make it out for that one, but I was a very poor college kid at that time, so still poor, just trying to get to grad school at this point.
Right. But the I drowned in pools, but I drowned in like losers finals of pools.
Oh, okay.
And I went 3-2. I went 3-2 versus Ken, or Liquid Ken, when he was right after he was sponsored.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that was like kind of the revival. Like PM, I want to say 3.0 came out around the same time that the documentary did. So I think to some respect that like helped boost the game's popularity, and like a lot of people came back. Like Ken came back for a little bit.
Ah, my dashback grab. Ugh.
I'm still grabbing. Didn't matter.
Well, it'll grab you on landing, but it won't grab you out of the air.
Which is a very weird hurdle that Yoshi has to overcome.
I think they changed. Did they change the distance on that? I'm not sure.
No.
No? I'm just misspacing it then. But I've just been a Yoshi player for the whole time.
Okay, even in 64?
Yeah, 64 is where I played Yoshi the first time. Melee, I'm not a big fan of Yoshi in Melee.
What? But what about Amsla? What about Amsla?
He's amazing.
I'm joking.
He's absolutely amazing.
I feel as a Yoshi player, you get that a lot.
Well, people say that Melee Yoshi's better because he's got no shield stun and like the different defensive tools that he has, which like fair enough, but like compared to the amount of tools that I have as this character, I don't know if I just disagree, and people can disagree if they want to.
So I don't know much about like I have my experience, right? But I am hard pressed to say that oh wait, I messed up. I'm hard pressed to say that Yoshi in Melee is better than Yoshi in PM, mainly because you can act out a shield that's pretty big. That's a major.
And he has a grab that's really good.
Like that's a major flaw that he had back then. So it's like I don't really know. So like you described a little bit about how long you've been playing, but how'd you come up with your tag?
Okay, so what happened was when I was learning Melee, I picked up Falcon, who's still my main in Melee, and all I knew how to do, because I didn't know how to short hop, I just couldn't do it. And that's, a hurdle that a lot of new players will run into is how sensitive you have to be with the short hop.
Right.
And all I could do was Raptor Boost knee. Like that's like my only reliable combo. So I'm the type of person that if I find a tool, I'm gonna figure out every way I can use it.
Okay.
So I found a lot of tricky ways to get raptor boosts to work, and my friends started calling it the Tombo.
The Tombo.
So I just used that as my tag.
Okay.
It's been, for a long time it's been Tombo Combo, but I've shortened it back to Tombo because it's a bit.
I remember whenever I would run into you on like Smash Ladder, I was just like, I would like have my first message would be a mini pop off like Tombo combo, because
The legend.
the legend. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, dude. Silmic. Melee Yoshi has some nice tools, but goddamn, I never realized how much he's missing until I was recently playing him on rollback. Yeah, man. Look, I'm not a Yoshi player. I don't, especially during these shows, I don't like to comment too much on other characters, but he can't jump out of shield. He's really bad.
Well, no jump out of shield, bad grabs, no rising aerials.
No rising aerials. Oh yeah, there's no rising aerials in that game. Oh,
Like, egg roll's not good. Like there's really not a whole lot that Melee Yoshi has over Project M Yoshi other than shield, and that's it. Parry, which like I could give or take, you know, because I can jump out of shield now, so that doesn't matter. If I can jump out of shield and get a frame, you know, frame 7 short hop nair or frame 8 DJC nair.
Oof. I'm really trying to snipe you out there.
That's a tempo trap. So, getting into like some of the stuff that I
wait. I want to touch more on your character first before we start getting heavy
sure.
into that. So what made you want to play Yoshi?
It's actually a fun story. I was originally going to pick up Mewtwo when 3.0 came out, but I was stuck between like 4 different characters, Yoshi being one of them. And I had a friend of mine who, like, in my small circle of people who I played regularly, was also going to main Mewtwo. So he was like, I doubt there's going to be any like good Yoshis, so like you could definitely be a pioneer in this new character, because he was a new character. He wasn't like a copy of Melee Yoshi. He was a new version. So like that idea really stuck with me. Like I could invent this character just like, you know, everyone else has invented their characters. As you know, you can talk about how like Ken invented Marth, and you know, Axe invented Pikachu, and all that kind of stuff. So like that appealed to me, and like the idea that I could be some kind of icon for Yoshi, where if somebody thinks like Project M Yoshi, they think of my name. So that became, so I just took the guy's advice, and I was like, yeah, maybe I could be Yoshi, and I just decided to actually put time into him. And then I created a goal of being the best Yoshi, and then also being considered the best Yoshi, like being the person that people think about when they think Yoshi in this game. I think I've accomplished goal 1, but it's really a matter of like underrating how much people know of me or know about me.
Yeah. I know Whompy was in your region. How did you guys do against each other?
We've only played each other like on NetPlay a couple times, and in person we have had a grand total of 2 matches.
Okay.
From people who play us both often, or played us both often, since he doesn't really play PM anymore.
Yeah.
He's a lab monkey. He put time into like perfecting everything frame perfect, and like as far as punish games go, if he's got something guaranteed, he's never going to miss it.
Right.
In my play, I'm gonna mess that stuff up a lot because I don't focus it very much. I think my neutral is like head and shoulders better than his.
Okay.
And like the things that I do are better for, you know, just performing and being adaptable. Whereas like he can't even play Yoshi in doubles because he can't do like the combos he's learned while there's somebody else.
Oh yeah, because they can interrupt at any good moment.
No, the grab, I'm dead. So like, he's definitely got me on tech. No question about it. But that's, in my opinion, the only place he's got me, and by the opinion of other people who've played both of us.
Okay, all right. So what would you say are some general strengths of this character?
He's really weird. He's just really strange. Like, he's got some very good tools, and I would say by and large he doesn't really have a whole lot of like awful matchups. It's a lot of like barely losing matchups. Like there's Meta Knight, there's Peach, and then there's like who else is awful? Zelda's pretty bad.
I can imagine. Shout out to Grizz.
Well, the problem with Zelda is that with lasting hitboxes, if I'm any kind of stupid with how I use double jump, I could just instantly die to it. And that's like how most matchups go when
Nice.
I have. Thank you. That's how most matchups go when people actually know how to fight Yoshi. But Yoshi has that wild card factor where, like, if you don't really know, if you don't have matchup experience, I could just run you over.
Yeah. My so there's a couple Yoshis in my region, but one of them that I had the most experience with, Nazutos. Shouts out to him. I believe he even did some like PM the DT work. I forgot exactly what it was, but I think it was something along the lines of animation. But damn.
He didn't DIN. Bear is so good.
Oh no, that move's so bad.
How is it bad? Can I what CC it until like forever?
Yeah, and just run up shield. It usually kills with it.
Yeah, but
well.
How much lag does it have when it lands? You just get a free grab.
Nah, at least not with most other characters. Maybe because Yoshi has like a pretty slow grab, but like a lot of characters or players, what they'll do is like, especially when I'm being like pretty brain dead in my fairs, they'll just straight up like run up and shield or run up and crouch cancel and immediately grab me, like buffer grab or something, and they'll just like, I'm just always in a bad position after it. Ah, yikes. Yes, he did teach the entirety of CT how to deal with Yoshi. Sorry, I'm just responding to the comments.
No problem.
So I guess to that subject, my first time playing against a Yoshi, I lost, and I went Mario, and I lost, and I felt like the entire time I didn't know what the hell was going on, and like the fact that his double jump parry stuff, it just made it real wonky for me to try to punish him. So like I just started playing really conservative, barely even followed up on any of my combos, and I was told that Mario wins the matchup harder. So I was just like, might as well just go Mario, and I just got destroyed. And then, well, no, it was like a 2-1, but like the last two games were real bad. And
It's just that Ness has some maneuverability that Yoshi also has, so like having a knee attached to you is really good. So if I decide that I want to approach, then you can just decide to back up and not deal with me, and then just back air whatever I want to do. Like that.
Huh. Yeah, so like that guy Nacho, he was like in our crew, he was in like my crew. So I got a lot of experience playing with him and got really accustomed to the matchup, and then playing with you helped because I still didn't want to lose to him, and like if I had to play him in tournament. Yikes.
Fair, so good. Yeah, I think Yoshi struggles in this matchup. It's not like unwinnable. It's just that you've said before that you can just magnet in the air. And then like some trades are just like there's nothing I can do. Well, not nothing. I hate that statement. We'll get into that. But there's just like I have to be very careful with what I decide to trade with, and like how I approach. And if you're patient enough to like wait through all of my pressure, then I basically have to either take what you give me, or I have to just give up space, which I don't want to do.
In my opinion, Yoshi's really want to go for like knockdowns into like tech chase grabs, like stuff like that. Because since you have a tether grab, like you can make the most out of it. Then, that being said, like because of like the way Ness operates, it's really hard to do that because I'm always floating around in the air.
Like getting a grab, like you're gonna take 60, like in general, but like Ness forces me to play a counter hit game a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And that little situation we were just in, kind of makes me want to lead to the next part. Can you start like talking about the double jump and like how parries work for Yoshi?
So Yoshi's double jump, the moment you do it, has armor, and that armor is knockback based. So like if I were to take a full like Fox drill, it's not gonna break armor ever.
Really?
But like, yeah. The knockback has to be enough to like actually have a send away, and as my percent builds, what sends me away obviously gets like changes. So maybe a back air is not going to break armor at 0, but it's going to break armor at 30 or 40 or whatever. And even then, like it may not send me anywhere; it might just break armor. So I can use that to survive hits that I shouldn't be surviving.
Oh no, I messed up my tech skill. I've been feeling like lately I've been getting just worse at my tech skill, and it's really starting to bother me, so I started labbing again. But it's so hard to like lab for net play. That's all we got right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be willing to play by feel and like play based on what your opponent is doing and what you think they're gonna do. Oh, I thought you were gonna land. Ooh, I didn't expect the nair. I expected like other things, not the nair.
Ooh, trying to do that again. So after this match, I want to like stop and like do some breakdowns for situations, like kind of similar to what we did last stream with Grizz. We kind of like went through like all of Zelda's tools, kind of like one by one.
Sure.
Oh, yikes.
Where's that pressure? That is not safe at all. Get out of here.
It's not, but I love doing it. It makes me feel cool.
It's way better to do jabs. Yeah, you have so much time in between that for me to do something about it.
Ooh, nice.
Get out of here with that
okay.
Eminem shield.
Okay, I was being stubborn. Ooh, almost.
Better watch her. I'm gonna figure some stuff out.
I don't.
And then
mind.
die.
I don't mind. Oh, you caught me on my second jump, huh?
I don't know, did I?
Yeah, you did. You caught me after I magnet and then I was pressing a button to like jump away, probably like a wave dash.
You're pressing buttons, bro? Oh, nice. Yeah, you want me to come in? Get out of here. I'll take the stage. I still touch the ground.
You know, I thought I was out of range.
Oh, my DI.
Yeah, that was really bad DI. Alright, let's see if I can make something work here.
Oh, no,
Now, I threw out that PK fire because I expected you to land somewhere. No. Almost.
Oh. I wanted the egg to hit you, but, you know, that's okay. That would have been a 6 setup there.
Okay, so let's go back there and like talk about certain situations one by one. Some of your better tools that I think this character has are, of course, your double jump. So let's test some of those things out. I'm gonna like nair into you, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. So like, as you can see, like right there, like when he double jumps, it's like a kind of an armor, and people usually use it to like parry attacks and then go into it. Like typically speaking, a nair because it's like a big meaty hitbox. Sorry, that was just happening.
No worries.
What are some other uses of double jump, the armor, or like other ways you like to go about it?
Well, like, out of
your...
shield.
Sorry.
Out of shield options, if I do like nair out of shield, like I still have about a frame of double jump armor. So like if somebody's jabbing my shield, they could jab the armor, and then I have enough time to put the nair out. But it's trite.
Yeah, I can imagine it's pretty tight because like Ness doesn't even have the fastest jab.
Well, I just did it right there. You saw that right there.
Yeah. And it's a good like kind of stay off me tool. Like it's really like just breaks up any kind of combo or like situation that your opponent's trying to set up, and it turns it into your favor.
Yeah, but the problem is if I put out a move during double jump, I lose armor completely. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, if I'm anywhere, like if you go ahead and like go to platform, like the
How did that hit me?
that whole rising aerial has no armor at all.
Okay.
So if I make a bad decision, like using my double jump or hitting a move during my double jump, I could just instantly die to it. Which is why like some matchups are really rough because I can't make bad decisions with that.
Yeah,
like
really...
Zelda, like if I make a bad decision with that and she hits me with like a nair or like a Nairu's or something like that, then I'm just screwed. You know.
You can delay nair up to 6 frames after the double jump and still get the DJC. It's not always 1 frame armor. 1 frame of armor. That's from someone in a comic. Unfortunately, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Silnick. I hope I'm saying it right.
He's actually more knowledgeable about like a lot of the frame data than I am. I play a lot by feel and like and you know how like you can look at all the frame data and like know it by frame data, but you can also know it like innately. Like so certain things just work.
Yeah. I'm definitely that kind of player myself. Like. It's funny because whenever someone asks me certain things, where it's like, oh, you know, what's the frame data for Mario's down tilt into jab, and I'm just like, I don't know, bro. I know down smash is 5 frames, like that's it. Like I don't really know like the frame data like that. I just kind of play by feel.
Yeah, I mean like what matters is you can do it and you can feel it, not really
Yeah.
that you know what you're feeling. It's actually really interesting in I want to say it was Yak Panksepp who does psychology work in games, like not necessarily video games, but like in just like how people play games and how people like how do I put this? How people interact in different scenarios, and we actually like, why do we put up a Christmas tree for Christmas? You know?
Yeah.
Why do we do this kind of stuff? But we do things. That's kind of a lost like a lost ritual that we just still do because we just do it. Doesn't really matter to us. But in a lot of cases, there's stuff that we do that there are rules that we don't know exist. So like following kind of basically what he says is that we act according to rules before we know what the rules are. Like there's something in us that like kind of figures out how things work before we can actually verbalize how and why.
And to me, that sounds a lot like kind of what we were describing before. Like we don't need to know frame data because we just kind of feel it out. So if someone explained later that like, oh, like I don't need someone to explain the frame data for why down tilt to double jump cancel down air works. I just know it works. Would that be a good way to summarize it?
I mean, it's one of the things. Like there's a set amount of stuff that like we learn how to do or play with. Like it goes into the mentality stuff, like that we're gonna touch later. But like that's, you know, in essence what's happening is we're figuring out how to do things before we know like the explanation for them.
Right.
Which is really how like human beings learned how to do anything. So it's best to learn from that instead of to learn from books and numbers. It's better to feel it out and like understand it in your own hands before you actually understand why it works.
Okay.
Because you'll find stuff that doesn't like work on paper. Like tempo traps don't work on paper. Me jabbing a shield and then getting a down smash on an action out of shield makes 0 sense on paper.
Yeah, but like, no, you're totally right. Cause that's where like that's the entire thing when it comes to like not just reads, but like tempo reads especially.
Like the whole, like did he just walk up and down smash? You could write a book on why that worked, which is more or less what I'm attempting to do. But like, I think when it comes to like high versus mid-level play, those mental aspects are what holds like mid-level players away from the high-level stuff. Is understanding like what aspects of the game that exist that they're actually playing in accordance to, but they're not using.
Right. Hold on. Let me think of some other stuff. So what Yoshi in general, like what is your general game plan with Yoshi? Like I can describe it for like Mario, where it's like I'm not gonna play Mario in this matchup because I actually hate the shit out of it. But Mario's kind of like my main game plan. Like for most matchups is I want to hold center stage, keep you out with back airs, and control where you can and can't go with pills. So like when I throw a pill, I don't really care if it hits you too much. Like it's nice, it's a free 7%, right? But I'm not really doing it because I just want to get some dumb free percent. I want to do it because I want to control where you can and can't go. So either if I throw like a grounded pill, right? You're gonna decide that, oh shit, like you need to do something. So your thing is to jab, right? Cool. So maybe I'll come in and like come in behind the pill and do something behind it. Or
right.
So a lot of people they give up, so they decide to jump, and it's like, okay, he jumps. That means I can kind of have free range to do whatever I want at that point.
Right.
So in a similar sense, what is your general game plan with Yoshi?
It depends on the matchup. Most of the time, it is I'm getting you into a corner and just bullying you with with good poke tools like down tilt and back air and nair. Like I want to get you over like in the corner where like if you're right there, I want to keep you basically right there. That's like because you don't really have a whole lot of room and I have the entire stage
to work with.
so,
yeah.
Right. So I don't actually like everything I do kind of bleeds into this stuff, but like I don't actually have to do anything in this good position. Like you're the one who has to make the move. It's the ball's in your court, and all I have to do is keep you from like I have to just not overextend into it, and I have to just keep you there.
And then and then you get what you want. You take the stock.
You take the stock. You take free percent. I mean, I have the freedom to back up and restart neutral if I'm in a good position. So like my game plan with like Mario or with like Ness or with any character that, you know, my primary goal is to get them off stage and gimp them or just keep them in that corner forever so that they're constantly having to recover into me.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That's a good way to go about it. So what are
Flip?
some... Huh? Flip?
No, if I'm fighting like a floaty, or if I'm fighting a character that I can't really do that to, then the game plan becomes more focused about tagging them to like 60 or 70%, and then getting the up smash or up air or grab that I need to kill them. But in general, I am trying to just get somebody off stage and keep them there.
Okay. That looked like it's going to be a ledge grab.
It was going to be, and then I screwed up.
Can you explain that, please? Because that seems like a really useful thing for any Yoshi or anybody in Yoshi to like know how to do.
Yeah, what it is I'm just running to ledge and then turn around double jumping.
Really? It's that simple?
That's it. It's that simple. What I used to do is I would do this because I can grab behind or in front of me with down B, and I can stall with down B as well.
Oh, nice, nice.
That's like the fastest way to do it, but like because I can grab ledge with it, I can time my invincibility where I need to be. So if I grab ledge way too early, I can still go back to ledge with the proper timing.
Oh, okay.
Which like is tough against like Mario and like Roy because they can do like an early up B and catch that bad timing. So I have to be a bit better about it. But more or less, like when it comes to Yoshi players, I would say I'm more grounded. I'm far more interested in the ground game, and a lot of other Yoshis are really interested in like the platform game and in the aerial strength that Yoshi has. And like there's nothing wrong with that. I think that it's just riskier, which can mean more reward. But
I 100% agree. That's really risky.
Like if you play Ness, if you burn double jump somewhere.
Yeah, if I burn a double,
Yeah, if you burn double jump somewhere, like in a combo or something, and I just like you're traded with, and then you go off stage, then at least you have an up B. I don't.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That like I learned, well, not the hard way for me, but if I can like get Yoshi into a situation where like let's say I'm trying to edge guard him, and like his only option was to like tech, that's actually not an option for him. He's just dead. Like he just dies if he tries to tech like the wall. He can't actually make it back, which is really sad.
So like my game plan is usually like pressure shield, do a block string more or less, and then tech read, and then use all that to get you into the corner.
Aw, that was easy of me. Oh, still alive.
Yoshi lives forever, man. That's why needing a recovery is one of those things that's like he doesn't necessarily need one because he spends all his percent tanking hits. So like, also if I start side B in the air, I don't have a jump.
Oh really?
Yep, I'm dead if I start in the air. But if I start on the stage and you hit it out of, if like I start on the stage and I roll off, I still have a jump.
Oh, okay.
Or if I roll on a platform. Egg roll's one of the weirder moves because like if I start it in the air, I don't have a hitbox unless I get out because there's a hitbox on exit. But the moment I hit the ground, I have a hitbox.
Okay.
And I get my jump back.
I didn't know that. For the most part,
See, I just went through you.
I was just hoping that I can like I don't know. I was just hoping that it was like, oh yeah, my hitbox just, I don't know, maybe your hitbox was inverted, like similar to like how all the Sonic spin moves work.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't actually know like that's how it worked.
Yeah, if I started like, let's say I start going on the platform, and I roll down, I still have a hitbox because you can see it. You can see the yellow. You see the yellow when it's flashing. Like the yellow flashing.
Yeah.
That's when I have a hitbox.
But
if I don't,
yeah, just do it in the air.
I don't have any. There's no yellow. See?
Yeah, and you didn't even hit me.
And the twinge. Yeah. So, but I have an exit I have a hitbox on exit though, which helps me provide more pressure, and it also helps me get people off of me in really really tight scenarios. But you can tell like fair to double jab or fair to whatever. Like it's not always double jab, it's just actually conditioning tools to do double jab. Because then you're always expecting the second jab and then I just don't do it.
Yeah, and then you just don't do it and you go for something else.
It's like, going for a two hit instead of a gentleman with Falcon.
Yeah. It's also like so when I play against you, that's one thing I noticed, that you do mix up what you do after the fair. Sometimes I did feel like it was a bit risky, like especially when like in general I still feel it's risky because, especially since there are times when I play against you where it's like I'm grabbing you on the first jab.
Yeah, but then I'll start mixing in like down tilts so I can get you away from me.
And that's called Yomi, ladies and gentlemen. We can start. I mean, there's other character stuff we could talk about, but it seems like a lot of your stuff kind of bleeds into that more. So if we can start talking about what would you call it? Your side project.
Well, it's titled tentatively "The Metaphysics of Smash," because I really want to dive into every layer there is. Like, I've been given shit for calling Smash like multi-layer chess, but that's really what's going on. Is you have the layers of like tech skill, and then you have like first level reads, and then you have like tempo and all these different layers. I couldn't say which layer is which, but like everyone's playing on a different layer at all times,
right? And
it's just a matter of how much attention you're giving the game. Because like if you're not playing at all, you instantly lose. Like if your positioning game is terrible, you're going to lose.
Right. So what are the different levels? Have you like at least like named some of your constructs yet, or like?
Yeah, there's so the base of the base level is just mentality, like having a learning mentality when you're playing. Because if you're not willing to accept your own mistakes objectively and get emotional about losing or making mistakes or whatever, like it's just a game. Like, I mean, it's hard to say that to people who are I wouldn't say overly emotional, but just very passionate about what they do to the point where they do get upset. Like,
yeah, and like there's something to be said about the investment that someone has made into the game. So to them, it's like, it's like, no, this is not just a game. Like, this is something that I've invested a lot of my time into, and met a lot of friends through. Some people make money through it. Definitely on PM, but
PM's all passion.
Yeah, PM, and that's why I really like this community, where it's like everyone that plays this game just really likes it. They just really like this game. Whereas like sometimes it feels like what other games like. Sometimes I get this.
People don't like Ultimate.
Yeah, like
People don't like Ultimate at all.
It feels like sometimes with alt players, they're just playing it because it's the new Smash. It feels like sometimes with Melee players, they're just playing it because they don't have any other option. Not that they actually like the game or anything. No, actually, no, that's not true. Melee players love the hell out of their game.
Yeah, Melee is another passion game. I love Melee too. I just don't like dealing with. I don't like dealing with Fox, or like. I don't mind Falco. I don't like Fox. I think Fox gets away with way too much stuff for free. But that's Melee players will call me a scrub and say that I'm not. I just suck against Fox. It's like maybe that's true.
Man, I think more Smashers need to play more fighting games so they understand how balance works. That's always my take.
Fox is busted,
and every other character really can't keep up, and it's just like, I mean, sure there's Marth, sure there's Sheik, sure there's Falco, but it's like,
yeah, but you have to outsmart the Fox. Like, you have to outsmart the Fox. There's no outmaneuvering, out tech skilling a Fox that's tech skill savvy or
one could
well
argue
versed or whatever.
One could argue like at any high level of any game, that's what it comes down to. You have to just outsmart your opponent. But like no, when it but I see what you mean as opposed to like matchup spreads. Like when you're like just talking about how a matchup would break down in a black and white manner. It's like, yeah, there's almost nothing anyone could do. It's like hope he messes up. Like there's nothing else he could really do, dog. You can bait him.
That's where the auto L cancel argument comes from. Is like Fox is ridiculous. In Melee, if Fox and Falco had auto L cancel, it'd be over. There's no contest, because like half their moves are monstrous. Half of their moves just shield poke full shield. Like what the hell? Like Falco's especially abhorrent about that. I'll be like playing Marth and I'll be on a platform and he'll just back air my full shield and I'll get hit anyways. I'm like, well, I guess my shield doesn't matter. I didn't angle it perfectly. Oh, and you auto-canceled, so you get whatever you want.
No, great.
What a good game.
So what are some weaknesses of Yoshi?
Bad decision-making. I die for bad decisions.
Okay.
Worse than any other character in the game. So if you like hard read what I'm going to do, or you just cover all my options and I don't have an answer to you, then like there's not really a whole lot I can do, and his neutral is weak.
Yeah, I was gonna say his neutral is pretty lackluster.
I have to go all in. I have to do these like fair mix-ups in order to get anything done. So like, as a player, I'd say my neutral is one of my strongest aspects. So that translates to any character I play. It's just that my punish game and my maneuverability with Yoshi, and the fact that double jump kind of covers mistakes that I might make, so that I'm not punished super hard for stuff. Like in general, like it's either I'm not super punished for things or I'm extra punished for things. And the fact that like I tend to live super late is just a testament to like me picking the right battles and taking the right hits.
Thanks, King Arthur, for the follow. And that cost me. Oh, God.
So why don't you go to Ledge more, or are you just not comfortable doing it?
Why don't I go to Ledge more? With my PK Thunder 2?
Okay.
It's mainly because, hey, thanks, Oops, Mandy. It's mainly because I'm not as good at my angles as I should be.
That'd be something to lab.
Yeah, it's something.
I'd say that the weakest part of your game is your recovery.
What I should be doing, I should be labbing that out. Like for this past week, I've just been labbing out certain just things that, punish-wise, I feel like I'm not doing. Like I'm finally getting like pretty consistent with my magnet turnaround back airs. That's like the next thing I want to start labbing. Like I'm pretty decent at my angles, like that. But it really depends on where the angle's at, right? So
yeah,
that one I suck at. But if I'm at like certain areas of the map, usually I'm pretty good at sweet spotting.
do you ever do like the reverse PK PK Thunders like Narc do and some of the other boys do?
I don't think Ness can do that because I only usually see that out of the Lucases. And I don't really see any other Nesses going for that per se, but I could be wrong, you know, you never know. It's not like I'm the best or anything. Always someone better, especially in the Ness like community. Oh.
And I have a whole bunch of ledge traps that just don't work against Ness.
Yeah, because you're kind of slow. Which is what I would argue is another weakness of the character, like he's kind of slow.
Well, like I have my limbo moves, so like forward smash, like that reel back is ridiculous. Up smash, that reel back is ridiculous. But when you have fair, which is monstrous, I'm losing to it, sorry. So like you coming back to ledge is like I have to back up, or like I have to CC something, or I have to do something out of shield.
I wanted to go for something cute. Yeah, and I'm dead. What I really try to focus up on, well, this show's not about me. It's about you. This show's not about me. I would say another big weakness, at least that I've noticed in Yoshi, is the fact that I can just, like we mentioned it a little bit earlier in the show, where you can throw out, throw out grabs for me. Sorry. Let's try this again. You can't grab me while I'm in the air. So
I only grab you with my face. So either I have to aim for my face, or like I have to aim for landings.
Why? I know that change happened around 3.5. Do you know why?
Yeah, because it was insane. So basically,
yeah,
what
because it was insane.
Because like your magnet would be useless against grab. Mewtwo's float would be useless against grab. Peach's float would be useless against grab. Because if I can grab area opponents with the end of my tongue, which is really long, like it's a long grab, honestly. So like if I'm able to do that, I can pressure you into situations where you can like jumping is really the only thing you can do, and my grab will get you, and then I'll have like grab armor on top of it. So
yeah, okay. You're like the only Yoshi that I've ever heard describe it like that wasn't pessimistic about that. Every other Yoshi is like, yeah, it's absolutely stupid. I don't know why they did that. And like
because it was brain dead as fuck.
I know. I heard one thing that something foxes didn't liking chain grabs, but I don't know. They already get chain grabs. I'm not sure how.
I could still chain grab them, but they still lose. They still die after 2 neutral wins. So it's like, I think the only Spacey that actually, well, Falco and Wolf have even matchups with Yoshi, but Fox has a losing matchup. And that's still kind of stage dependent. If I'm on like FD, then I'm winning.
Okay. Your moves are kind of slow. Your neutral's lackluster. So like, so Yoshi, at least neutral game wise, it really depends on how good you are. Whereas like other characters might have a tool or two they can just throw out.
Yeah, but you just took 80, so.
No, I just mean like generally speaking. You know, I'm not even just talking about just you. Like, your neutral is definitely only as good as you are. And you can say that for a lot of people, but the difference is Yoshi doesn't have any really safe option that he can just throw out there in neutral, whereas like, you know, Wolf has lasers. Even Mario to an extent has like
pills. And pills and back air are really good.
Yeah.
It's about like how much commitment is involved. So like me having to come in is like sometimes fully committing even my double jump and everything.
Ah, damn it.
Like, I have to make really hard reads. Knowing what you really want to do. And like just being willing to take hits that I need, that I have to be able to take hits, basically.
So where would you put Yoshi on like the tier list? Like,
Not as low as most people put him, but definitely like mid, lower mid. I think he's like maybe 3 characters shy of like dead center,
okay,
I'd say, because like most of his matchups are like, you know, 55-45. Like, given that the person knows how to fight Yoshi, if they don't know how to fight Yoshi, I get an extra 10 points.
I agree with that.
Like, if they don't know the matchup, like, I'm winning every matchup. But if they know the matchup, then you get a bit more realistic with it. That angle was ridiculous.
Thank you. I try to make up for my lack of sweet spotting with other things.
I make up for my lack of angles with better angles.
But I try to make up with it with like, you know, stalling out here a little bit to like see what option you're trying to pick, and then like see if I can like work around that option. That was a horrible example, but you know.
You grabbed my near. What do you do if I don't approach? You don't do anything.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh yeah?
But I approached. I just ran into you.
Shut up, Tony. Shout out to HMO4 in chat. What else could we touch on before we get into like the really extensive conversation that we've been leading up to for the last?
The juicy stuff.
Yeah, right. So, is there anything you would like to change about your character? Oh no. You actually touched on your matchup spreads. I don't have to ask you anymore. Like most of it, you, in your opinion, is like 45-55.
Most of it, I think there's some matchups that, I mean, my opinion as how I play Yoshi is different from a lot of how the other Yoshis see matchups. Like, they think we just hard lose to Falcon. I think that's an even matchup or even Yoshi positive. Because
Why is that?
you can juggle him forever.
True.
He relies almost exclusively on grab setups on Yoshi. There's nothing else he really has except for the speed to catch bad decisions. That's it.
Okay.
If I can get like a back air on him and then I get like an up tilt, he's taking 60 and then I can carry him off stage, and Captain Pocket is notoriously easy to get.
Yeah, especially your
And
down
I've got
tilt
rising nair.
would do a lot against that. Yeah, rising
yeah.
nair, down tilt, yeah, you do a lot against that.
He beats Marth pretty handily because Marth hates armor. So most of Marth's moves don't do anything. Most of Marth's aerials can't compete with how good armor is, and plus Marthitis is like times 20 against a character that will live to 200 anyways.
Right.
So that's a winning matchup. Ganon's a losing matchup. Olimar's a losing matchup because he's just fast Ganon.
Why is Ganon... I've never heard someone called Olimar a fast Ganon.
Olimar is fair and bear the character. Like,
fair and bear the character. So why do you think Ganon wins in a matchup? Because I've never heard that one myself.
He breaks armor really easily, and his moves are really big. So a good Ganon won't push huge advantages, like, because he doesn't have the speed to push advantages. So what he'll do is push up the stage, like you're supposed to do in that kind of as that character. Is you're supposed to push up the stage until I'm having to recover into him, and then all he has to do is wait for me and throw out a big move like a up air.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I have to weave around what he's doing. Like, this is, hypothetical best Ganon in the world kind of play would be get me off stage, wait for me to use double jump for any reason, and then break it, and then like jab me off.
Okay.
And like cover what it, like, you have to be willing to kill Yoshi. You have to be willing to do the necessary steps to break armor, and then to break the recovery, and then to get the last hit. Like, it's like edge guarding a Rob or a Luigi, where like I have X tool, you have to beat X tool, then you have to beat other tool, and then you have to beat the third tool, and then I'm dead.
Yeah.
So like Luigi's got his down B. If you don't give it back to him, then he'll use it, and then he's got green missile, and if he doesn't misfire, if he does misfire, whatever, and you beat it, then he might still have his jump. So now he's got his jump. He still has green missile, and if you beat it the very last time, then he has to misfire, or he's dead, and then he probably dies. So you have to like go down the checklist and not be impatient about it.
Okay. Sorry, my cats are bothering me. Hold on, give me a second.
No worries, my cat's over yonder, just chilling out on her cat tree, playing with my blinds. Like she's not supposed to. Ugh. No playing with the blinds.
Sorry, they were definitely just hungry.
That's how it happens. Do you want to go outside? No? Yes? Yes, no? She's an indoor-outdoor cat, so like, I let her outside and then she would claw at my window to be let back in.
Oh my God.
And then she broke the screen that is on the outside of my window. So now she just has an entrance and exit outside my window. Do you want to go or do you not want to go? Come on.
Oh
Make a decision.
God. It's like every conversation I've ever had with my cats. Nah, they just want the door open. They like to have the option.
No, you can't have the option. You have to pick one.
I know. So this is a question I want to ask you because you've also been entering the Don't Touch Me, I'm Sterols, a lot of them. I pretty much meet you every week at Winners Finals.
And then Grands or whatever.
Yeah. Rob, when I watch you play against the Sleek one, it just seems like Rob has the clear advantage in the matchup. How do you feel about it?
60-40, depending on the stage.
60-40 for Rob or for you?
For Rob. Because Rob has a lot of tools that are anti-Yoshi or anti-pressure. So if all I can do in neutral is apply pressure, and he's got tools to get out of it, like CC down smash is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got the boosts, which has the same effect as magnet. So you get to boost across the stage. I have to respect it before I can even grab you.
Yeah.
I can nair. I could do options to beat boosts, but the previous week I figured out that the main move he's using against me is up air because it's got multiple hits and it breaks armor early. So I've been just trying to zone around it for the most part. The problem with the Sleek one has a lot of tells when he's going to do stuff. So if he's going to shoot the laser, there's a certain position that you'll get in where I can tell he's about to shoot the laser or he's about to shoot a gyro at me.
Yeah. And he'll always, like, at least against me, he'll always, like, run to that corner to do it again and again and again.
Well, he always shoots one after knocking you off stage. He always grabs whatever. Like, he's got a lot of tells when it comes to what he's going to do. And that makes fighting him specifically pretty easy. Because he doesn't play... I like to say that, like, 3.6 Snake... I think Snake's a sick character, but I think most Snakes don't play him sick. They play him like they're playing Mario Party. That's what when they're playing like with the nades and like
like they're playing Mario Party. I tend to agree with Junebug's sentiment about playing against Snake because Flip was in my region. It feels like you're fighting a Dark Souls boss.
I mean, maybe. I mean, it's just a Snake that is camping and just tossing out nades and dropping C4s and putting out up smashes and throwing out random or not so random trank shots and then just waiting for you to hit their shield so they can grab you. I mean, they're playing Mario Party. They're making you play a Mario Party minigame to hit them.
Yeah.
And like, I think like a CQC focused Snake is a lot more fun to play and to play against.
Yeah. Because
he's actually playing Smash, but really the jury's out on whether or not that's actually better than playing Campy.
Yeah. I'm definitely. I think Flip was kind of the only one to like really master more of a CQC playstyle. Also,
that was after extensive amounts of time playing Campy. Because he invented that playstyle too.
Yeah. I was hoping that would catch you.
Oh, I dropped too slow. I wanted to instantly get that invincibility and instantly hit you. I don't know how much of that was net play and how much of that was me just flubbing.
I think going off stage and like, I think it was a pretty free edge guard for you, so long as you didn't drop down like that.
Well, Nair actually beats PK, whatever you know.
PK Thunder.
What do you, PK Thunder?
PK
Yeah,
Thunder.
actually,
PK Thunder too.
It actually just beats it straight out because it's a disjoint.
Yeah. Oh really? Oh god.
Yeah, if you recover like just mid high stage.
So what are some moves you would recommend not using as? Oh, actually another thing. Bread and butters. Like, what's there some bread and butter combinations? You kind of just started one right there, actually.
Depending on the character.
Yeah, you can just beat me up. Like, just
depending on the character, it's depending on the character, it's going to be like pushing them across the stage with double jump cancel nairs and getting regrabs, or just tacking on percent. So if like you DI away, I'm going to do like, you know, sharking platforms and doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a reaction thing. This is
no, it's okay.
Moment.
And I can do like down air, like ledge cancel. So it's basically, I would say, as per your question that you asked, is as learning Yoshi, you want, yeah, it's how Silic said it, Silnick. I would say
okay.
still, I said Silic in my head for some reason, like for the longest time. Silnick is probably the correct pronunciation of it.
Yeah, sorry for butchering your name, dog.
I've known him for years too. It's the funniest thing. But every time I read his name, I just think Silic.
Of course,
but
you're gonna overextend. You would have thought. You would have thought.
I didn't expect to even live.
Wait, hold on. Is it Silic? Silic or oh my god. Which one is it? Can you say both variations of it, Tombo?
Silnick or Silic?
Is it Silic or Silnick?
My brain says Silic. My brain just says Silic. That's like one. You know how when you like read a book and like you assign like just kind of a noise to like a person's name because you don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
And you just recognize the pattern of letters, and it's just like, oh yes, that person, and the person's, yeah.
No, I agree. Like, I feel like it's Silnick mainly because Silic would imply that the N is silent, and I don't think the N is silent.
Be an overly complicated name if it was.
Oh, it is Silnick. It is Silnick. Okay.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm like, as I said, like, I'm just ignoring letters because my brain is just assigning it what it thinks it might be. But I would say as far as Yoshi goes, like learning Yoshi, if you want to learn the character, you're just trying to stay away from bad times to use double jump cancel. So you basically only want to use it when it's like you're not going to die from trading it, or when like you're in a punish. Because like I can take trades center stage, but I can't take trades off stage. I can't run into your fucking feet. Like a dummy.
My reverse knee. Yeah, Captain Falcon's actually my uncle.
Excuse me, I should have invincibility.
No. Alright, so I guess we can get into the meatier part of this conversation. We already extended a little past an hour, which is a little bit kind of not what I want to do with these. I like to like at least break it up an hour. 1 hour we talk about characters, another hour we talk about like community service. So what made you want to start doing this? Like this player decision making?
Because I really enjoy coaching, and like when you start thinking about the specifics about like what exactly are you teaching people and why, like you start to discover these unwritten rules that everybody's playing by. And I don't think anybody's actually touched on these rules in any great detail. Like looking at Melee, I think the only person who's actually attempted to do anything close to what I'm doing is PP. And like there's a lot of stuff at from
PP would I would love his videos, especially because I feel like he's the only like person talking about like player habits and like making conditioning a person to do what she wants, rather than like, I don't know, like only talk about neutral option, only talk about tech skill options, only talk about like Mango is a very field-based player, so it's like really hard for him to describe anything actually.
I mean, what you'll find with really high level players is that their advantage state is amazing and their punish game is really good, but like their disadvantage state is awful. Like, and their tech decisions are trash. No, I'm good. Thank you.
No. Oh. Yikes.
What's up? But like, what I try to do, which I'm not doing too well against you because I'm just kind of playing and talking, but
no, yeah, it's so hard to play and talk. It's so hard to play and talk.
What I discovered is that a lot of people who really need help are the people who think they've hit a ceiling, and those players tend to be mid-level. Because if you're not comfortable like with your play, I mean, you get to a point where you're comfortable with your play and you're not sure how you're going to improve more, and like you're not sure how to deal with certain situations. And some of that is like just straight up mentality, and some of that is actually just not understanding the situation and what's happening to you. That's why like better players tend to just run over like lesser skilled players. And funnily enough, that's actually why like mid-level players tend to run each other over, is because like if you go back to the chess example, there's some board that you're losing on or you're winning on so much harder than they could possibly keep up on, with another board. So like when I talked about like my mentality stuff, like everyone has things to work on, but really recognizing what you lack takes a lot of how would you say it, like objective observation. Because like if somebody beats you, like for whatever reason, like if you think they're better than you overall, or you think they're just like gimmicking you out, if they take a stock from you, they were better than you in that moment in some way. They don't have to be better than you overall. They can just be better at you for that instant, like with better positioning or with better DI or better, like maybe they read you really hard. It doesn't really matter. Like there's no like having your cake and eat it always be correct, because otherwise you'd have to be a mind reader.
I find that, at least in my experience, high-level players actually have situational awareness, whereas like mid to low-level players don't at all. They only know what they've seen in like textbooks, essentially. You know what I mean? Like basically player guides, or like, I'm supposed to be doing this, but they don't really have situational awareness to understand when you should be doing this or why you should be doing this. Like they just know
why the thing that's hitting them is even working in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's the point, is like there's almost this street smarts kind of thing that you have to learn with Smash. That's like, it's not a single player game. You can't just, there's no Exodia combo that just works unless you count like wobbling. But even then you have to get a grab. Like you have to, there's too much to the game to learn every scenario. Like as the scenario, you have to break it up into like principles and how decision making works.
I tend to break down. Oh, sorry. Go.
No, go ahead.
I tend to break down decision making into Yomi layers because it's just, in my opinion, like the easiest way to look at it. Where it's like, what's the best way to explain it? So, player 1 throws out an option, right? Throws out an option. That's Yomi layer 1. Now the other player, the opponent, has to figure out an option that beats that option. That's Yomi layer 2. And then the first player that was on Yomi layer 1 has to figure out an option that beats Yomi layer 2, which then becomes Yomi layer 3. And when I play Mario, I think one of the benefits is that I always start on Yomi layer 1 because I throw out a pill. I throw out a pill and I see how you react to it.
So the question is, what happens when you do nothing? What Yomi layer is do nothing?
One could argue 0. I would argue that's a Yomi layer within and of itself, doing nothing.
Well, it's like you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, right?
Yeah.
Remember when Boomy is like talking about jings? It's like positive jing when attacking and negative jing when defending.
Yeah.
It's just like technically there are 72 or whatever. Like understanding when to do nothing and when to wait is one of the biggest things that mid-level players don't get. Is like when you have advantage, there's no need to throw moves out and no need to do things that you don't need to do. You can just wait. Like, I don't have to do anything to just wait for you to recover. I don't have to get ahead of myself because I'm just waiting on you.
Exactly, and that's a perfect example right there. Like, you didn't have to do anything besides wait for me to come to you. And like, almost everyone that I've ever seen complain about Ness's recovery is like, it's so stupid. Oh my god, it's invincible. I can't challenge the PK Thunder. I'm like, why didn't you wait on stage? You could have just waited on stage, wait for me to come to you, and then hit me with whatever you felt like, and I would still... That would either... At worst, it resets the situation. At best, I'm dead. So it's like...
Right, I mean... There are players who get ahead of themselves thinking... I mean, it's like understanding the Yomi layers, for example. Like, you might see an opportunity for something that's either happening right now, so you're already too late, happening in a minute, but you act too soon, or already happened and you're trying to capitalize on something that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So like you might make a read, but like what players will do is they'll make the read's correct, but the timing's off. So like even with all the Yomi layers, you still have the timing aspect of it. So like me picking Yomi layer 0, whatever waiting is, will change the whole equation so that whatever you did is meaningless unless your positioning is just so much better than whatever my waiting position is. So like me having center stage and me putting you in a box or whatever, like whatever you decide, I don't have to react. I don't have to do anything until you actually challenge my position. But right. Like what mid-level players lack by and large is patience.
Yeah, patience. And again, like situation awareness, or like in another word, dynamic thinking. Breaking away from like what they see as the right option, because there is no always a right option. I remember one time I was trying to. I mean, I say this example a lot on this stream, but one day I was getting in. It wasn't like an argument, but it was like a discussion, and someone was complaining about Mewtwo on Twitter, and I play against Mewtwo all the time. Ep.4, he's pretty good. He's no fuzz or whatever, but he's pretty good. He was like top 5 in our region, like consistently, with pretty solid wins himself. But the guy was complaining about Mewtwo, and Mewtwo is like a hard matchup because he's a hard matchup. Plus, no one knows how to fight against him because there's barely any Mewtwo's. So, oh god. Oh no, not like this.
It didn't happen.
So this guy was asking me, like, we were going back and forth. He was complaining. I think at first he was complaining about Nair, and I was like, well, you can usually beat out Nair with an aerial, and depending on when you do the Nairs, actually, or they do the Nair, when they try to hit you with Nair, you can kind of crouch cancel it. It just really depends, right? And then he's like, well, if I start doing that, they can space around that and then back air. No, they were complaining about back air first. And I was like, well, you can hit it in between. It's like, well, if I do that, then they could come in and then do this. And then I'm like, yeah, well, there's an option for that. And then
counterplay.
Yeah, literally, and I couldn't help but think, yeah, man, there isn't one option that wins the game for you. Sorry, like I don't know what else to tell you after that. Like, there's counterplay to everything in this game, and you're gonna have to figure it out.
Set up the situation where they use the move that you want them to use.
And like, you're gonna have to be aware. You're gonna have to be aware of the situation, and like, okay. He just was set up for this, so he's using this move. Remember this option. Okay, I'm spamming this option a lot more. Now he's gonna switch it up. Like, it's time for me to pick Yomi Layer 4. Like, you know, like it's just.
Oh, that's what I meant to do. Oh, and then he sits in my head.
I didn't sit on your head. I stepped on it. Big difference.
Get back over there.
I was greedy. Big greedy.
Oh, what was that? What was that yo-yo that you've never used before?
A happy accident.
Dragon Ball Z! Yeah, okay. What the hell was that?
You
oh, nice ledge kick.
I hope you know this is what I say every time we play. Not even like in little tournaments, but like every time we're playing, it's like I'm always laughing at the dumb shit that happens. All right, dude.
Give me that shield.
No, dude. It's okay. Just chill out.
Oh, I thought you'd roll in, but you rolled away like a good player.
Like a good player. You give me a little bit too much credit there. Yikes. So what's like? All right, hold on. After this, we'll get more into it because.
What was that back air? Just a rising back air.
A good one. Try to hit me with Yomi Layer 0, I see.
Every time. Because there's nothing worse than losing to nothing.
Good.
Put down air.
That was a perfect situation of like how your grab doesn't grab in the air and how it really can screw you over.
I'm dead.
Smart.
Sure you got your jump back, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I had the angle, just not the distance.
This friendly is too intense for me.
We're not even talking anymore. We just really care about winning this friendly. No money.
No, the grabs. The armor.
I should have known better.
My son. I should know better. Are you kidding me? It's like, hello, how you doing?
So, back to the topic of mentality. What's like if you will, what's like chapter 1 that you like to explain in your project excerpt?
So chapter 1 would be, I mean, it's a lot. Chapter 1 would be mentality. It would be playing to learn instead of playing to win, playing to have fun. Experimenting and getting a feel of everything. I would, if I could, make a whole guide for just like moment of picking up controller to master level play, but I don't really think there's a whole lot to teach people about decision making past just getting comfortable with the character.
Okay.
So you kind of have to start at like a mid-level of like, okay, you've quote unquote mastered your character and just you're able to, 9 times out of 10 or maybe 7 times out of 10 do the thing that you want to do when you want to do it. And it's really just about like knowing why the decisions are made or knowing what aspects that you need to just tone up. Because when you get to that level of let's just call it familiarity or like comfort, then you're there's not anything that's obvious that you have to work on.
Right. When it comes to mentality, I kind of been working on that a lot for years, especially once I started doing my own research on like the nature of improvement while I was still in school. And one thing that like always like stood true, like I remember I had like this big essentially like research showcase, and we had to like give a presentation to like all like the professors and some of the grad students in the school. And I started with saying like what's the main, and it's funny because I don't know jack shit about sports. I don't. But I started with saying like, what's the main difference between LeBron and everyone else on his team? It's when you look at all the things that make an expert, it's not time played. That's a big one, right? It's not.
Right.
It's not like he's particularly faster or stronger than everyone or more accurate. Like it's not like he might be like a little, like let's say he's a little faster, right? But it's not enough. The variance in like his speed or accuracy or like power isn't enough to explain the variance in like skill in the skill gap. So what's it really? A big part of it is arousal control. They don't get nervous. He doesn't.
I mean, that's definitely like a big part of it.
Like that's one of the, at least what most research around the subject of improvement goes. It's like arousal control or emotional control, however you want to look at it. It has a lot to do with like success in performance. That's why that's why you get the situation where people will play you so well in friendlies and then in tournament they just shit the bed.
Right.
Because they're nervous. It's now that there's tournament pressure on, or money on the line, or whatever, more mistakes come.
Or pride, or trying to prove themselves, or
Yeah.
Any of the above.
And keeping a cool head is always a given, right? That's why I try to like laugh a lot. Like at first it wasn't that natural for me, especially because I'm more of a shy person. But like I learned to like, instead of getting tilted, especially because I used to play against Mewtwo and get really tilted, I kind of learned to like laugh whenever something stupid happens to me, and just like.
I mean, that's how you kind of have to like here's the sole fact of fighting games and like really like one-on-one competitive stuff. There's nothing in the game that's like blatantly unfair. Like people that like. People point it out when things seem like they break the rules too much or they're blatantly unfair. It's like wobbling or like that kind of stuff, or like being able to run or ledge grabs or whatever, like, you know, it gets messy the more that you include based on, like, you know, Twitch chat opinions.
Oh god.
But like, there's nothing that's blatantly unfair about like what you are doing versus what your opponent's doing. So like, there's no John that saves you from it being your fault. Like, there's just nothing. There's nothing that you can wipe the blame off and maintain. Like, you can't be a better player than what your excuses make you out to be, basically.
Exactly. So like, I kind of like to go into every match, and this is probably just because I'm a self-deprecating fuck, but I don't like going into matches thinking I'm gonna win. I just don't. I don't. I actually.
You should have that confidence. You definitely should have that confidence that you expect to win, you expect to be tested, but you don't hold yourself to some unrealistic standard of like, I'm gonna win every scenario, but you gotta, it's like, I'm gonna play to my strengths the best I can, and I think that will lead me to a win.
I think that's. I was speaking from more of a personal point, but no, you're 100%
Sure.
right. You need confidence because you need some semblance of confidence that you can do this, right? Like, you can do this, that this is possible for you. Because I find that, like, when I play someone, like, even if it's just a friendly, if I'm playing someone that's like top 20, I start looking like a child because I'm so nervous that I start rolling 10 times, or I'm like doing the stupidest things in the world and it looks like my kid brother picked the controller. But just like on a personal note, like I feel like I don't work well thinking that I'm gonna win when I go into the matchup. Even if it's a guy that I beat every single week, I can 3-0 him on a consistent basis. I like to go into the match thinking that I'm gonna get fucked up. And that's
enough about me.
You know what's funny? It's funny. I was thinking about somebody else from like CT, but you know, I guess that's you too.
I mean, I go into each of our matches like, yeah, I can get this. I can take this guy. I just have to figure him out.
Yeah.
That's how I usually go with matches. There's a few rare players that make that mentality die for me. Like, there's actually only really one that. Not Gorilla.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I've been playing him for years, and like, if there's anybody in the world who knows me better than me in this game, it's him. And like, it's just brutal to have to deal with somebody who just instantly destroys you the moment you make a bad decision, or like even a not a good decision. Like, imagine like, oh man, I'm getting blown up for bad decisions, but like all of my like mad decisions are like, I'm not really dying from. He's like, no, all your mad decisions are dying. You're dying to those two.
Oh yeah.
And it just super feels bad, and I'm like, man, I don't go into our friendlies being like, yeah, I'm gonna beat his ass. I go into our friendlies like, man, he's gonna open me up like a can.
I think what you touched on before, like playing to learn and not playing to win, that's another big thing that helps a lot, where it's like playing to like figure out your opponent, or like if the opponent is like, let's say, ranked higher than you, playing to like become a better player for the next day or the next event. Because this is just an experience, you know?
Well, that's how you should think when you're being realistic about your skill level. If you're trying to prove yourself, you're trying to do the best you possibly can, period, no matter what. And that should mean, like, I don't know this person. Like, for me, it's I don't know this person, but I have enough of an understanding about the game to know when my decisions are bad, or know what they're punishing.
Yeah.
So I can try not to do the things that they're punishing me for. It doesn't always work, but like, at least I can be objective about like my play and why I lost, or even why I won. Like, oh, he's not punishing that, so like I'm gonna get away with this. So like, I'm just gonna keep doing that, and if he figures out a counterplay, then like I at least know what Yummy layer he's on.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick, hey guys, if there's any questions that you had about Yoshi, or like you like something that we're touching on a mentality, want us to explain more, please ask. You know, use the chat to its fullest capability.
Should we start going down the chapters?
Yes, I was about to ask you. Yeah. So what's past chapter 2? I'm past chapter 1.
So we start to get into like the decision-making factors of the game and why decision-making is really like really a science and not just like there's nothing. Nobody's making decisions by accident. It's all, even when people are autopiloting, they're making decisions based on something, which is why when you find an autopilot, it's a habit to exploit. So like when we talked the other day and I said, hey, what's the most important thing about finding a habit?
The trigger.
It's the trigger. It's finding what makes that habit happen. And if you can find, 2 or 3 of those, then you play the game for your opponent. You know what and why they do stuff, and you know what you do causes them to happen. So if like you were to roll, like if you roll center every time I apply X amount of pressure on your shield, then I'm going to get into situations where applying X amount of pressure to your shield gets you in a bad situation, and then I get a punish for it. Maybe I kill you for it. Maybe I get a really hard punish. I would say with the key with finding habits, not to punish them particularly hard unless like it's, I would say either unless it's tournament or unless it's like a last couple stock scenario where it's like it's your hat trick.
Yeah.
But you want to get into situations where like you are punishing the habits and you're exploiting them, but you're not exploiting them to the point where your opponent will recognize that you are.
Oh.
And then you just marionette them into bad situations.
See, I never thought of it that way. I thought of it more of a... So the way I would go about it is like, I want to punish all your habits as hard as possible because I like to have a lead. And I like to maintain that lead as hard as possible. So even if you're starting to figure me out, I'm up 3 stocks to your 1.
Right.
You have to work harder to figure me out, and I already figured you out. But yeah, no, you're right. Because if you just like keep one of their bad habits in your back pocket, and then you're in a last stock, last hit situation, you can really exploit that. So I really like that. That's a good little step there.
It depends on the player, because like high level players, you have to do that. You have to have hat tricks to win, because they're going to have the same stuff on you. Like they might keep stock of how you get off ledge or how you do this, how you do that, whatever scenario they keep track of, and you'll fall into a trap they laid, a game ago. So you have to be prepared with your own stuff. If you're playing against somebody who like, there's like an aspect of players who are like a little bit weaker than like high level, is if they don't have a whole lot of counterplay, if they don't have many layers to their game, you punishing their layers really hard makes them have to basically second guess everything they know. And you make them think slightly harder than they usually are accustomed to, and you just win. The moment you have somebody thinking harder than normal, you slow them down significantly and the game's over.
Right.
And then you like it becomes part of the puppet master, because you know which Yomi layer they're going to move to next, because you told them which one is correct to move to, and then you punish them for that again, and then they move to the next layer and you punish them with the counter again, and you're basically taking them down the list of pain.
And that's what it's like me playing against top 10 players. I feel like a child. Fuck. So what's chapter 3?
So what did I say chapter 2 was?
Habits? Or finding
No, it's not really. No, that's kind of going into like the kind of the baseline or like application. So chapter 2 would be threat zones.
Okay.
So like, let's
go to a bigger
the
stage.
best way to, well, no, the best way to illustrate this actually is with Marth,
Okay.
because Marth has very defined threat zones.
Wait, can I ask you something real quick? Why
Yeah.
did you go Marth against me?
Because it's a really bad matchup for you.
Sure. Okay. It's also the first matchup I learned, so like I'm very comfortable.
I didn't know
with
that.
it.
There was one time at, I want to say, tipped off 12. I was playing against Reslived, and like he was doing really well against my Yoshi, and then I whipped out Marth, and like he had no answer. Like, and my Marth is like, okay, it's not great. So like I thought maybe I could kind of
do the same
abuse
thing.
the strengths again.
Yeah, because this is definitely, like, in my opinion, probably Ness's worst matchup.
which is why I decided to try it. And it's just a game, so if I end up losing, it was only a 2-stock, so it wasn't really that bad.
Yeah, I was questioning it. Where it's like, I know this is the worst matchup, and everyone knows that, but I was still like, I still think it's weird when sometimes people like just pick a character to counterpick me instead of like a character they're familiar with. So like threat zones.
So like Marth, it's pretty straightforward because his strength is his reach. So a threat zone, by my own definition, is basically a space that I can interact with in the first like 7 to 14 frame window. So like, the reach of what I can do is basically my threat zone. So like, if you're on the other side of the stage and I like approach you, like, you're going to respect my reach before you respect me. So like, the fact that I can hit you is what makes you shield or makes you react, not my body.
Okay.
If you get what I mean.
No,
So
that
like,
makes sense.
the fact that I can like if you don't react to me coming in to like putting you within my threat zone, then I'm just getting tipper F smashes, and I'm getting hits for free. And that's like, some of the basics of footsies, where like you're going in and out of the range of my attacks and hoping that I whiff them. But like, the part of threat zones, like, it's more complicated than what I'm like just telling you baseline, because it's kind of a teaser. But the application of threat zones that I find really important is the fact that they exist subconsciously.
Yes.
So like, the Yomi layer of do nothing only works because I have a threat zone. It only works because I have like the ability to hit you, and maybe not the exact action of hitting you.
Exactly.
So like, I could F smash you right here, and like you'd have to do something about it. If you don't, you get F smash, or you get hit by whatever I throw out. Now I could say the same about your threat zone being, your stubby arms or whatever. So you have all these options too, but like, they're limited to exactly how much time it takes you to put them out. So you've got that threat zone of immediate threat, and then you have like area of influence, where you extend that 14 frames to maybe like 45. So now you can include like, jump forward fair, or like, jump forward fair for you, and then you can the heat map of options becomes a bit more bubble like. So what I'm working on with Nexus is, the first video that I'm putting out with them is going to be on threat zones, and it is essentially bubble theory. If you've heard from Hungry Box's bubble theory.
No, I haven't heard that.
So he talked about, there's a video about it and people meme about it, but there's a when he went to Summit one time and he won Summit, he talked about like how he manages like threats and stuff like that, and he talked about he and his coach developed this thing called bubble theory. And he was like, it's too complicated to just explain away, so I'm not going to even try. And people are like, he's got this secret thing that he uses to beat everybody. But it's bubble theory. What is that? And it's would be my most educated guess would be threat zones and understanding possible options, because like, my threat zone on the ground is like obvious to like F smash and like forward tilt and all the other stuff that I've got standing. But you always have a threat zone no matter where you are. Because my threat zone in the air is going to consist of what I have to offer in the air.
Right. So you talk about threat zones. If I could just add to that a little bit, that's why dash dancing is good.
Yes.
For like, I noticed like mid-tier players, or mid-tier, especially low-tier players, they just dash dance for no real rhyme or reason, and they don't understand why it's working. So they'll just be like, they'll like be right here dash dancing, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, like you'll be deep within my threat zone and just dash dancing, or you'll be like completely across the stage just dash dancing for your health. It's like,
All right.
you don't understand why dash dancing works, and dash dancing works because you're dashing in and out of the threat zone. I would actually argue that Marth's distance is about, the threat zone is about right here-ish.
Well, his
Because you could dash
threat.
attack.
Yeah, I mean, but that's I don't know what the count of frames that would be. I mean, like dash attack, like that's
or like a wave dash and down tilt.
Yeah.
Because like wave dashing, at least in my opinion, expands threat zones. Maybe not within the limited frame time, but and like on like maybe not in the limited frame time, but like in practicality, it kind of is extend.
Right. There's a heat map of threat.
Yes.
That you have to. The cool thing about that though is the moment that I make a decision on a move, that my threat zone is reduced to the move.
Huh,
so
yeah.
the fact that I'm picking fair, the fair is the only thing you have to respect when the fair is out. But when I have nothing out, then you have to respect everything. That's why you try to bait things, is because you want them to pick an option so you don't have to deal with every other option. That's the reason it works. That's the reason a bait and punish is a thing that you try to do, is because you can't combat every option. You have to make them pick an option so that you can punish it.
Right.
Especially when the reach is such a difference.
So chapter 2's threat zones. What else do you have so far? And again, I can understand this is you're working in tandem with a Project M Nexus, and you're making your own little series. So I don't want you to, feel the need to expose your entire theory now.
No, it's fine. The stuff that I have to, like, I'm not trying to sound smarter than I am. Like, a lot of the stuff is, like, very hard to explain anyways. So it's like, even if I told you what it was and kind of gave you a brief overview, there's no taking every application and then, like, all of a sudden you don't have to watch my video anymore, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, chapter 3 would be, like, positioning and stage control. So that's when you have the application of, like, threat zones and why it's important, and why, like, different decisions are made depending on where the stage is. So, like, as I said with Yoshi, I might be using double jump cancels more towards center stage, but when I'm in disadvantaged state out here, double jump cancel is gonna get me killed. You know?
Yeah. And it kind of touched on, like, how you said before, you like to carry them to, like, the ledge with some nair combinations, nair into grab or nair into what have you. And then once you're right where Martha's standing and, S-smash beats death, you tend to throw out, like, your normals, like, your down tilt, your F tilt.
But, like, it's the full idea of, I want to get you in a corner and keep you there, because all of your decisions are now in disadvantage, and I limit your options as much as I can. And, like, even something as simple as, like, tech decisions become, like, way more simplified. So, like, it's unlikely for people to roll away when they're at ledge. That's why sometimes it's a good option to do, because
they're always going to be covering the roll in based on their positioning.
Right, but they could also be covering the roll out really, really hard based on positioning. But, like, the idea is you want to make them think options are unsafe, and then force them into situations where you can punish them really hard for bad decisions. Which is, more bait and punish, but, like, less about threats and more about, like, simple decisions. And one thing that I noticed that mid-level players do is let me show you. They'll get you, like, like, they'll get you to this position and they'll, like, knock you off. Let's say that kills. Oh, that's gonna kill you. They get you off. Go ahead and, like, go to ledge. Like, you be recovering, and they'll go all the way back to center stage.
I know what you mean.
They'll go back all the way to center stage, so you have, like, there's no pressure anymore. There's no, you don't have to worry about me if I'm all the way over here. But if you're recovering and I'm, like, right, covering your get up or covering your, like, ledge, then there's a lot more that you just have to, just with the threat zone, you have to worry about me. You have to be perfect, or more perfect than lazy. But if I knock you off and then just, like, run away, like,
then
I'm giving you ledge for free.
for free. There's a, you know, I had a plan. I just completely forgot it though. One thing that I also see from like, not just like mid-level players, but sometimes people that don't like fully understand like how good like positioning is, where like against a floaty or something, like, oh, I can't combo them, is like, or I can't punish, or I didn't punish them. Why? Because I couldn't hit them like 80 times into death. There's like, okay, you hit them twice, and then what happened? Oh, I hit them towards the ledge. You did punish them. You got stage positioning. That's a punish.
Yeah, stage position is your secondary advantage past a combo. So if you do any kind of knockaway, your goal then is to gain the stage that you won. And if you give it up, then all you did is attack percent. Like immediately grabbing center stage and putting me in a corner is what you want to do. But when you just give me my stage back, then it's worthless percent. Yeah, I'm closer to death, but like in the end, like we're playing a game where
the goal is to hit me off the stage
and keep you off. Howie. It's like, you know, grab a ledge and do what you're supposed to do. And sometimes that means just like me playing Yoshi and just hitting you with Nair over and over again. Like, is that interesting? Not really, but like, it's efficient.
Like,
it's a lot more.
No, continue.
I don't know. It's, I think positioning is the most important aspect of the game by far.
Yes, I agree.
Because like, you've got players like Borp who have nothing but positioning, and they do well. Like, if you want like a 10 out of 10 in positioning, you look at Borp. You know? If you're familiar with who Borp is.
Yeah, he's like the techless Sheik player, right?
Correct. So like the only thing he has is like being in the right place at the right time. Maybe with not even the right move, but like he's still hitting you with it. Why does it work? Because he's willing to wait for you. He's willing for the position he's in to be the right one. So like, I can have the best tech skill in the whole world, but if I don't have any clue about positioning, I'm hitting open air. Like even in the simplest sense, like there's a difference between like spacing and actually like positioning. Like spacing is, I would say, like the actuation of good spacing.
Spacing is the actuation of good positioning. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said spacing twice.
So think of it like this. Like, think like a cat trying to jump up on a countertop. So like, if the cat wants to jump on the countertop, the spacing is the distance from the cat to the countertop, and the positioning is the best place to jump from with that distance.
Okay.
So like, you know, if I want to get up on the platform of like this platform over here, me jumping here is correct spacing, but it's not the correct position. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like correct position I get on the platform. So you get into scenarios where your spacing or where your positioning is really minute, where it's like, where you're inside of my hitbox, so it doesn't matter anymore. You have hits, and that's where stuff like CC comes in, where you're willing to take a hit to stay where you are because your position's good.
That is why people CC, huh? That is why people CC. Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. Yeah.
That's the only reason they CC, is because they want something out of it, or their position's good. Like that's like, let's say it's like I'm playing DK and I want a CC grab. Like, the position is, this position's still important because it's where you're gonna be, you know? It's where I want to have that interaction. Does it matter where that interaction is technically? No, not really. If it's just something as simple as a CC grab. But the reason that you take hits or the reason that you CC things is because your position is good, and you want to keep it that way. Which is why you want to trade at ledge. In this situation, this is why you're fine with trading with me. If I up B and you just nair my up B, you're going back to stage. It doesn't matter, but I might be dead.
Yeah. Oh,
That's why the position matters. Oh, that would have been sick nasty.
Yeah, not on my stream.
But that and stage control going like, think of spacing being like level 1, positioning being level 2, and then stage control being level 3.
Okay.
Where it's just like application of application of application. Like like necessary piece into application, I would say. So my F smash doesn't do anything if I'm not in the right position, and my F smash doesn't mean very much if the position is, even if it hits and the position is bad.
Yeah, like. Nah, I was gonna just let you keep speaking. You're the guest here, you know.
I mean, the more you want to hear. So that being level 2, level 3, like again, this is like, I'm not saying like these are hard set rules, because this is really like me trying to explain, you know, astrophysics. I don't fully understand it myself, but what I do understand, it's more like, it's so complicated that I'm not willing to put a natural law on things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
So like, I would say that at least the first 3 levels are particularly where they are, because like they build on each other. But then you start to get into like, okay, so stage position leads into pressure, which would be level 3 or 4. Level 4 would be pressure, and how pressure works. So like, me putting you in the corner puts pressure on you, but having bad stage position, having bad position in general, puts you under pressure, puts you in a disadvantaged situation. And vice versa, you know? So like, shield pressure is a great example of like how, you know, a pressure situation works, and that's really the essence of a fighter, is what shield pressure is and what it isn't, and what works and what doesn't, what's frame tight and what isn't.
In regards to pressure, like when I was like one of my first year of Smash, like someone like kind of explained something to me, was like, you kind of want to make your opponent flinch, if that makes any sense. You want to make them flinch. You want to make them go for a naturally defensive option, and whether it be like you know, there's a couple of them in this game, right? Like there's rolling, there's spot dodging, shielding is another way of like flinching, if you will.
What's the core essence of the flinch, though? What's the core essence? What's the most important part of the flinch?
The trigger. That what made them want to do that, or?
Well, what makes them want to do that, being a trigger in the loose sense, it's about timing.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you can measure pressure with time. So if I put you in shield, and let's say I like jab your shield over and over again with a character that, you know, has a good jab for that, or like you can jab my shield, like you're trying to get me to act out of shield, and you have a tempo. So like, you know, I would say like the tempo is probably like boom, 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 boom. Like you're basically barely not doing your second jab. I mean, I can do it really good with Yoshi.
Yeah. I think it would be more beneficial if we
both stick.
Yeah. I mean, Mario's definitely, I'm a dual main. It just really
Right.
depends on like, well, sometimes the character, but more so who I'm playing against and how they like to play.
Go ahead and shield. So that would, each one of those is, I would say, like one tempo beat, and every break between the two is also a tempo beat. So if I were to jab your shield, you know, once or twice or 3 times, I can basically gauge about how fast you'll panic or flinch, however you want to put it. And then I have that measurement in the back of my head of, okay, he dropped shield to do something. after X amount of time. And let's say that you're a type of player that will wait out any amount of pressure, then I'll on purpose let up pressure so that you act so I can punish your first option.
Okay.
Which is why you get those scenarios where I'm doing like a jab and then I do a down smash like seemingly randomly with like no lead up, but what I'm doing is I'm measuring how much time it takes for you to drop shield.
Okay.
So the moment that you think that you're either safe or that you think, okay, I need to get out of this, because until you're a high level player, it's actually way more instinctual than anything else. It's not really understanding like when you are at a disadvantage or when you think you're safe. It's more of like, I got to get out of this scenario and I'm not willing to stay in it anymore because I'm uncomfortable. So you instinctively want to get out, so you can measure that instinct with time. And it's really, really useful to do that, because even high-level players won't realize, that they have a set amount of time that they are willing to be under pressure.
Yeah. I tend to go with more the count reads when it comes to at least shield pressure, whereas like everyone likes to do things in a certain number. So typically it's 3, and then like Yomulator kicks in when like the player's smart enough to realize that they're catching on to their number, if you will. So like you mentioned it before, like instead of going like fair jab, or you notice that like I immediately grab or something, you like do a down smash or dash away before I can do something. Aw, damn it. Why did I think that would take you with me?
It's really the same thing, though you're not really counting. You should be counting in measurement of time rather than actions, because the actions are just manifestations of it. Because that would be like, this is going into chapter 5 with tempo, and like what tempo is. It's the rate of decision making, but it exists outside of like pressure situations. So like me being an advantage, I get to dictate the rate of decisions, but you're still making decisions at a certain rate anyways, whether it's in neutral or not. And understanding what that tempo is and how fast everything's moving allows you to kind of play like an offbeat, or know when your moves need to be out, or when they're safe, or when they're like, when you can get like a tempo mix up, like did he just walk up and down smash? Was great positioning, stage control, pressure, and a tempo mix up all in one. And it might have been even part conditioning, because I don't remember that entire set or that entire game, but I do know that instance happened for
several
the main reason. Well, yeah, several reasons, but the main reason being that they were playing at a certain speed, and then Mango decided to halt that speed.
Okay.
So he got a free action out of hacks.
So before the stream runs like too long, is there anything else you wanted to say or like touch on when it comes as opposed to like your decision making?
Play with purpose. Do everything on purpose. Do not do anything by accident. And that takes time to learn.
It does.
Think about everything and why you do it. Watch videos of yourself playing and question why you did something. Try to remember what you were thinking in that particular scenario. And if you can't remember what you were thinking, you probably weren't. So
you're not wrong. Like,
it's okay to have like autopilots in the places where it's appropriate, like in Punish Game, and even theoretically that's bad, because if somebody figures out the perfect DI to get out, or the perfect SDI or whatever, then your autopilot becomes useless to you. It becomes a hole in your game. And I maintain that autopilots are a hole in your game.
No, they are. I 100% agree with that.
But there is a big distinction that you have to make between like physical autopilots, like non-thinking autopilots, and I like to call it like a subconscious structure that you create in your head for using information that you gain by playing the game. So like that autopilot where you train yourself to not think as much as you usually do. So like, let's say for example, I'm brand new and like I've gotten the tech skill down. I can autopilot tech skill, but I don't have a whole lot of nuance to my game. I'm gonna have to think through every situation in nuance, and if you do that enough, you store that kind of in the back of your head so that you just have a file that you whip out whenever you need it. So you know automatically what to do, so you don't have to actually think about it. You just have it. You have the answer.
Okay.
So that's in that case of like a mental autopilot. PPMD said that the one who has the best autopilot wins, and I think it may be just a wording thing on my part on how I word it, but being able to look at a situation and diagnose exactly what you need to do is the most important part of the game. And if you can't do that, then you're relying a bit much on your muscle memory.
Silnick called it the mental stack.
I mean, I've never heard it.
To me, that sounds a lot like
that
Yomi
way.
layers, but
Yeah, it's Yummy layers, and it is.
well, mental stack was what I meant. Like that term to me
Yeah.
could just be replaced with like Yomi layers.
And understanding your Yummy layers and what works and what doesn't is like, I would say is like, it's like having kind of a playbook and you have a book of options that you kind of pick from, but you have to be willing to take one of those options out and kind of tear the edge off to make it fit,
Yeah.
You have to be willing to do that. And I think mid-level players especially just don't have the understanding that they need to really push forward, that they really have to think about what they're doing and why. Have you ever played Code Red?
No, I've never played Code Red.
He had an issue a long time ago with acting as soon as he could every time.
Wait.
Kirby Man.
Yeah, Kirby. Yeah, I played him so much, dude. I played him to the point where I was like, dude, I don't want to play you in another like back-to-back like best of 5 games, man. Like I played you I played that man so much one season. I was just like, man, I'm not even like, not that like anyone really cares about Smash Ladder, but it's like, dude, I'm not even getting points anymore because I beat you that much. I'm just done. I play you every day. Like, please.
There was a time where I played him. I think one of the first times I played him, and because I like to coach, I do offer people advice when they ask. And I told him, like, you knocking me off stage and just throwing out random moves doesn't get you anything. Wait for me to actually be hit by the move to throw the move out. And at first he's like, oh, I don't want to be campy. I'm like, it's not campy. It's like you're just wasting button presses.
Yeah, you are.
I can't respect you if you're down over somewhere else reading something that I never did before.
You're right. You're totally right.
So, and in like 3 games, he instantly flipped a switch and he was just like, I don't know, he jumped from mid-level to like almost high-level play, like instantaneously. He became a threat over the matter of 15-20 minutes after he internalized that advice.
It's funny because again, talking during that play, he was at one point he was like, man, at this point I've at least taken a set off of everyone in Florida. And I just thought that was really impressive because like I was playing him before and it was just like he kind of wasn't a threat, and slowly but surely he's getting better. I didn't know what was going on because that was happening in Florida. But I did notice a big change in how he was playing, and he was starting to actually take games off of me. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. But like I did notice that there was a big change in that player one day.
Yeah, it's been he's been a good friend. He's a very good shit talker for sure.
He's a very good shit talker.
He's a good player. I mean, I would call him the best Kirby, which doesn't give you much because a lot of people think Kirby is the worst character in the game. So
I definitely have a friend that I think can contest that. Shouts out to Saber.
Saber, okay.
Yeah, Capital Region, upstate New York.
I thought he was a
different Saber. He gets that all the time.
Oh,
he gets that all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, different Saber. In fact, last blacklisted, the last one that was held because this year just got canceled. They did a money match, essentially a money match for the name, and unfortunately my boy lost. He has an issue with like kind of what we were talking about before, where it's like he doesn't have like he's such a good player in friendlies, and when you bring him to like a regional, he's so freaking nervous. I just watch him play like a significantly worse player, and it's like, dude, you would never have done that if that was just a friendly. And like back to what I was saying about before, like the main difference between like the top people in like a sport or a competitive whatever is the fact that they have better arousal control than everyone else around them. They don't get nervous, so they just have to focus on what they already know how to do. What their bodies know how to do naturally, do like endless hours of drills and whatnot.
Well, you start to get into like the talent versus hard work argument, and like IMO hard work will almost always break talent, but if talent works hard, then it's just unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's like,
yeah. Well, yeah, because like will always be those that are just exceptionally talented, but at least through empirical means, right? Because we can't really gauge.
You could theoretically outwork talent working hard, you know? You could theoretically, I mean, and that goes into broader stuff.
What I meant by that is like empirically, as in like, it's hard like to name talent as a construct through psychology and then like quantify it, But like there are other things where we can kind of assess
it could be like sort of like a work hours to success ratio, maybe.
Yeah, I mean there's that as well.
Plus IQ, like with a mix of like IQ.
Yeah, there's
like that.
Player IQ is always like a big part of it. It gets much more dynamic, but one of the most determining factors is the fact that they're able to be less nervous, so they can then utilize their IQ better.
That's a trained skill, though. That's a trained skill. People don't have that.
No, you're definitely right. Especially because if you've been in this situation a lot more, you tend to like get better at it. But also like just like little things that you do. Like I at one point I was implementing like techniques of meditation a lot more during sets because it was just like breathing. Because at one point I got really good at meditating because for like my own like anxiety issues. But then I started using it during tournaments, and then I started to find that once I just take a breath, like even like especially during a punish period, like if there's ever like a player cam on me, like especially at home, I take a big breath, like a real deep breath before I do anything else, or while they're hitting me. Because if you're just sitting there panicking as they're hitting you, you're not really focusing on the best way to get out. You're just focusing on getting out.
Well, like there are things that you just can't do about it. That like it's like, okay, I'm getting hit right now and I'm in a bad situation. So what do I do about this? And you can try things, but like it's all about objectivity, and like I would say it's almost like a stoicism type of mentality where you kind of take the punches as they come because you have to. You don't really have a choice otherwise, because you either react empirically and like calculated, or you react emotionally, and emotions don't solve problems.
Yeah.
Emotions point out problems, but they don't solve them.
Right.
Which like can get political, but
yeah.
I think I'm thinking about like a thesis that I would hypothetically write, or I'm going to write, about how like competitive games, especially like the Smash scene, have set up like a perfect example of like meritocracy in society. So like you think about it, like we're all playing this game, we've all agreed to play this game, and we all love this game, we want the success of the game, and we want to reward the success of the best players. And there's nothing else that gets you respect other than promoting the game or being good. So like being a commentator is like one hierarchy you could enter if you're not like willing to be a top player. But
Or
like you're not
can't,
winning, or can't. I mean, like,
because being a top player is hard.
right,
Been
and
trying for 6
like you
years.
shouldn't expect that of everybody who loves the game. And I think that's one thing that people like, they hold themselves to the standard where they have to be Hungry Box, they have to be Mango, and like there's nothing else for them in the community other than that. And maybe for some people that's correct, but for others, like, love of the game will take you a lot of places, at least within the community itself.
Yeah, because like,
And the space might not be like totally fair, and it's not like it's a perfect system. Like, there's no two ways about it. If somebody wants to main, Pichu, and they want to win tournaments, like, good luck.
good
Like,
luck.
it's not fair that your character isn't good. It's like that's you either work with it or you quit. And people will value a amazing Pichu even if like you don't win tournaments. Like, that's what happened with Amza. Like, he was invited to more tournaments because nobody's seen a great Yoshi, and then he's gotten better. He was already good to begin with, of course. But like, all of it is based on merit. None of it's based on like somebody's identity or skin color or anything like that. It's all having to do with the game and value to the game.
Right.
And I think it's a beautiful thing to just examine and write upon.
Like, that's kind of why I started this series, because like, honestly, I just really, well, for one, I thought there was a lack of content for PM.
Oh, for sure.
And especially when you go from PM to 3.0 to P plus. Ah, damn, nice. You're getting really good at those.
I tried to. I mean, the angle's pretty difficult, and I basically have to force you to recover low. Oh, reverse jab didn't come out.
Oh, thank you. You didn't have to call an Uber for me.
Like, you know how you said like you throw out pills just like for reaction to cover space?
Yeah.
I do the same thing with eggs.
That's how you should use your projectiles, honestly. You want to test
I
out
like to
some-
save 40% of my eggs, or 60% of my eggs, I should say, aren't meant to hit you. They're meant to just manage where I want you to go.
Oh, no regrab. That's fine. So, I think this will be the last one, because I don't want this to run on too long, and I kind of want to keep this to a 2-hour period. So even.
Well, then, maybe episode 2 is somewhere around the corner.
Oh yeah, we could definitely do another episode. I'm planning to start re-inviting people after I've gone through my list, and I was talking about it a little bit on Twitter. I essentially have 3 months worth of content, and there's still there's still like a huge maybe pile that I haven't even gotten into yet. Of just people that like I would like to
my
ask.
DI is amazing.
Of people that I would like to ask, but I'm just being like a bit shy about it. So after that's been exhausted, you're definitely a person I would like to have back on the show. Hold on, let me turn my brain on.
It's like, wait a second, there's 3 stacks. His brain, it's on. What do I do?
See, I turned it off. Oh no, it was on. It was on the whole time.
Oh,
I like the energy.
I was really hoping that you'd roll like into my body. I thought I was right inside of your roll distance.
Ah, almost made the comeback.
Alto pressure. You want to do one more?
Honestly, yeah, because I turned my brain on and I was like, all right, I can do this.
Okay, we'll do one more for the sake of your pride.
For the sake of our pride.
It's a really good trade, and you get it all the time.
Yeah, you didn't know I'm a manager at GameStop?
Yeah. Taking all my money.
Yikes. Good shit, good shit, good shit. Alright, not so good shit, but you know.
My mistex are punished too hard. Oh, you're dead.
Says who?
Says me. Listen to my laws. Listen to my laws.
I don't know, man. I lived a little longer.
My decrees are only 9% wrong.
My decrees. Ooh.
These shield grabs are my weakness.
Oh no.
No.
Ooh, ooh, that was so good.
Am I dead? Nope.
Ah. I'd be like that. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Thanks for having me. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope. Well, I enjoyed myself. It's always fun playing against you. I've been playing against you for years, so I always tend to enjoy our games anyway. I next week we are having on El Shroomed. He was a Link player from a PR Link player from, I want to say, I'm not gonna even guess, California, either NorCal or SoCal. We'll figure it out next week. And he moved to PA, which allows us to even do this. So we're gonna be getting into Link, his experience over there in the Cali scene, which is like one of the stronger regions in PM. So we could talk a little bit more about that. And yeah, thanks for coming. Any last words, Tombo?
So that's it. Any last words?
Any last words?
Yeah, just everyone needs to play with purpose.
Yeah.
You love the game. If you want to get good at the game, play with purpose. Think about what you're doing.
Oh, also,
And
shouts out to Project M Nexus. Before I forget, shouts out to Project M Nexus.
Shout outs to 404.
Oh yeah, 404. Yes, shouts out to 404. How did your? It's so wonky to me that like that like someone's sponsoring PM players in 2020. It's like what?
I will say it's less of a full sponsor and more of kind of like a team.
Okay,
So they're not really giving me a whole lot other than I would say like social media presence. But
okay,
it's nice to have a tag with it anyways, because they're not going to stop me from actually getting picked up if anybody were to pick up an actual PM player. But
which would be wild. Which would
it
be
would be well, it'd
wild.
be awesome. But I don't know if I'm the most deserving of that unless I were like a coach or something.
Yeah, I mean, you take what you can get, right? Like at least enjoy
Right,
it. Um,
for sure.
I think I'm gonna end it right here. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Next week we're gonna have another show, and follow me at KOFPK Tweet for any updates if I'm gonna cancel the show or anything, or just follow me on Twitter. Right there is Tombo's Twitter if you were ever interested in contacting him or whatever. And
Literally ask me anything you want. I'm an open book
see you next week,
about everything.
guys.